All right, it's everyone's favorite time of the week, the NFC West Huddle, where we break down the most competitive division in football. I'm Ethan McReynolds. Joining me, Megan Plain in Phoenix, Keyshawn Ward in San Francisco, and Gerard Moncure in LA. And boy, guys, do we have quite the Thursday night game to discuss. Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay, two of the best offensive minds in the game playing in sunny, hot Santa Clara. Perfect conditions, the overhead in the first half. Yeah, no, it was an ugly NFC West battle last night. Gerard, I'll go to you first. How surprised are you to be sitting here today with the Rams at 8-6 with a chance to end the week on top of the division?
I got to tell you, I'm not really that surprised. I think we all believe down here when they got off to the 1-4 start with all the injuries that it was possible to turn it around if they got healthy. And we kept seeing glimpses as the season went along where they would play teams tough, but they just wouldn't get over the top. They beat the 49ers earlier in the year. So what happened last night wasn't a surprise. But we just didn't see them put full games together until the other night against Buffalo, okay, where they scored 44 points. Defense wasn't great, but let's face it, the Bills arguably could be the best offensive team in the entire National Football League. The Rams found a way to win that game, though, and that was the breakthrough. That's what everyone down here has been waiting for. That's what we thought they were capable of. And what was unique about last night is they won last night the exact opposite way. So they won in a controlled environment, scoring a lot of points against another high-powered team. And last night, they played a trenches game, nothing but field goals and defense, bad conditions. They found a way to win. They get Tyler Higbee coming back from injury, the tight end who's been missing all year. He got hurt in the Detroit game last year in the playoffs. They're running on all cylinders now. So this is where we thought they could be. I'm not that surprised. I got to be honest with you.
I would say a lot of people are surprised about that Buffalo game, me included. And don't even get me started on that quarterback sneak call, watching as a Seahawks fan. But Keyshawn, there's a lot to talk about coming out of last night's loss. You've got Kyle Shanahan's offense putting up 6 points. Linebacker Devondre Campbell saying he didn't want to play. I mean, what's going on in San Francisco? And the flip side, how shocked are you that the Niners more than likely won't make the playoffs this year?
Man, where do I start? This has literally been the season from hell for the Niners because it just seems like we've had different narratives and storylines throughout the season, but they all been negative. It started out with the rookie Pearsall getting shot. Then we had the contract disputes with Brandon Ayuk. And then we go into the season. That's when the injuries start to pile up. And then, honestly, it just seemed like last night the Niners, they just had no answer for the Rams. They couldn't move the ball down the field. And it almost started to feel like, does Brock Purdy have struggles to play in bad elements? We've seen him play in Green Bay, play badly. Oh, I'm sorry, he didn't play that game. That was the backup. But when he played in Buffalo in the snow, it was bad. Last season playing in the rain, it was bad. And then last night was another example of Brock Purdy struggling when it's raining or snowing. And it just seems like the Niners just don't know what to do on offense right now. Because you can see in the beginning, they're trying to feed the ball to Deebo Samuel, but that's not the formula to success right now. And they couldn't get the run game going, so it just seemed like the Niners have a lot going on. And going on to Devondre Campbell, man, the reaction from everybody around the world, from media to fans, they're disgusted. Because let's be honest, that's a betrayal to a team. You know, he tucked his tail between his legs and walked away off the field. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it just seemed like he had no awareness. I mean, he was brought to the Niners to replace Drake Greenlaw for the meantime, but once Greenlaw came back, that's the leader of the defense outside of Fred Warner. So it didn't make any sense why he did that. So it's just another bad loss by the Niners, and it just seemed like it was a season from hell, and that's why the Niners are at where they're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, that is a crazy story, Devondre Campbell. I mean, when I saw it, I thought he was, some rookie, young player, immature decision. He's 31. Crazy story. Megan, let's go to you. Back to last Sunday, another divisional matchup. What have been the talking points in town after the Cardinals lost to the Seahawks?
Well, obviously the big thing in that one was Kyler Murray and the interceptions, right? And each time the Seahawks took advantage of those turnovers, turned it into them scoring. So the big thing is taking care of the ball better, because through the first 10 weeks of the season, I believe, Kyler Murray only had 3 picks. Then in the last few games, there's been 5 picks. So it hasn't been great for him right now at that quarterback position. Turnovers are going to be the key thing that he's going to work on. The offensive line, they need to shore things up a little bit as well and make some improvements in the way that they've been playing. But yeah, it's all going to come down to the picks, right? And it was really tough for this Cardinals team. a second loss to the Seahawks. So obviously that tiebreaker now belongs to the Seahawks. So the Cardinals did not put themselves in a great spot. Their odds now of having a chance to win the division in a really bad spot. And then, of course, with the Rams making a push here, things are starting to look real rough for them. But yeah, the offense for the Cardinals really needs to figure out a way to click better, especially after last week, not only just turning the ball over, but also trying to incorporate some of their weapons a little bit better. Marvin Harrison Jr., we still haven't seen a ton from him this season. A lot more that fans would like to see out of their top draft pick, but we'll see if, this upcoming week they can get all that figured out.
Yeah, and for the Hawks, it was a game that they had to have to keep their hopes of winning the division alive. You mentioned the tiebreaker with the Cardinals. And they not only showed up, but played their most complete game of the season. The offensive line showed up, put in their best performance of the year, led to 176 yards on the ground. No sacks allowed. Geno wasn't touched. The defense, or the death zone as they're calling themselves now, looked amazing, forcing a pair of turnovers. Megan, you mentioned it, making Kyler uncomfortable all day long. The Seahawks are playing their best ball at the right time. That's 4 straight now. And even with the Rams breathing down their neck with a tough stretch coming up, Seattle has control of its own destiny heading into Week 15. And, man, that is not a sentence I was expecting to say going back to the beginning of November. All right, well, we're caught up now on a pair of divisional games. Let's look ahead to Sunday. Just the Cardinals and Seahawks playing, so I'll have everyone answer this one. I want your predictions for Cardinals-Patriots and Seahawks-Packers, both straight up and against the spread. We'll try to keep predictions to this week. We'll be talking division predictions later in the show. Don't worry about that. Both Seattle and Arizona are at home. Cardinals 6-point favorites. Seahawks 2.5-point underdogs on Sunday Night Football at Lumen Field. Keyshawn, we'll go to you first. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals. I think they're just too desperate right now to try to stay afloat in this division. The Seattle Seahawks on the heater. The Rams are finding stride at the right time. The Niners are just collapsing. So this is the Cardinals' time to try to stay alive in NFC West. And as far as the matchup, I just think that the Patriots cannot go score for score with them. And the Cardinals are back at home. And I just think that they'll also just be too much on offense for the Patriots to deal with. Yes, Drake May is doing pretty well with no weapons in the perimeter, but I just don't think it'll be enough for him. So I do think that the score will be somewhere between 22 to 16. So I think the Patriots will cover the spread, but outright, I think the Cardinals will win the game.
Megan, let's go to you now. Who you got this weekend?
I'm going with the Cardinals as well. I'm going to take the over on them as well. Man, this Patriots team, obviously they've had their struggles this season. The one area of concern I do have for the Arizona Cardinals is going to be in that run game defensively, because we see what Drake May is able to do with his legs, and they really struggled in that area. We saw it against the Seahawks, of course, this past week. They let up some pretty good yardage in terms of allowing the Seahawks to run the ball. So if they can get that figured out, which I do believe they should be able to, Nick Rawless, their defensive coordinator, has been pretty solid this season, especially with this group of guys that had very low expectations. They've really surpassed exponentially those expectations for the season. So I think they will figure that out and not have too much trouble with the Patriots. This Cardinals team, they're pretty desperate right now. They are taking it just one day at a time, right? Because they know, hey, we had a chance to control our own destiny. We kind of ruined things for us a little bit. So all they can do is take it one game at a time. They know that they have to win out at the best chance to have the best chance to actually make a push here in the playoffs. But going up against this Patriots team, I think that the Cardinals shouldn't have too much trouble here with this group. I'm going to take the over on this one, and I think they'll be A-okay this weekend.
Yeah, I'll go next. I like the Cardinals to take care of business against New England, but I think the Patriots cover the spread. I like what Drake May has shown so far this year. I think he keeps it to a one-possession game in Glendale. We'll go to you, Gerard, really quick before we get to the Seahawks game. Who do you got in Cardinals-Patriots?
Give me the 6 points. Give me the 6 points. They've lost 3 straight. They have no momentum. I'm not sure where their confidence level is at right now. Drake May, as you just mentioned, has played pretty decent football. New England's won 2 games on the road this year. They're 2-3. And Gerard Mayo, great name, spells it wrong, but great name. He has the Patriots at least competing. The Rams were there 3 weeks ago. They barely got out of Foxborough with a win. It came down to the last possession. That's the type of fight that this team, a non-playoff team, has. And I think Arizona's going to have their hands full. They're going to win the game, I think, by maybe 3. But give me the 6 for sure.
Keyshawn, let's go back to you. Seahawks 2.5-point underdogs. Sunday night game, primetime at home. Who do you got in that one?
Ooh, that's tough. I'm going to go with Green Bay. yes, Geno Smith has been playing out his mind, and the run game's been great. Even with Kenneth Walker being out of the lineup last week, I believe Zach had over 150 yards rushing. Don't quote me on that. But I just think, in all honesty, I think the Packers are just starting to become one of the top teams in the NFC. Seattle's kind of be brought down to earth a little bit, so I'm going to take the Packers in that one.
Megan, we'll go to you next. Seahawks, Packers, who do you have?
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree on this one. I'm going to go with the Packers. I mean, the Seahawks, they have shown here late in the season that when there's a lot on the line, when there's that first place spot on the line, they can rise to the occasion. But I also think that the Packers have really started to develop well this season, and I'm going to go with the Packers as well.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Honestly, I could really see this one going either way for me. I mean, the Packers are a great team, but I have to stick with my Seahawks to pull the upset in prime time. I'll tell you why. The Hawks, 24-8 in primetime games at home. They show up for the big occasion at Lumen Field. I expect the same on Sunday night. They're riding a 4-game winning streak coming off their best game of the year. Give me Seattle by a field goal to stay on top in the division. Now, Gerard, I have to assume you disagree with my Seahawk picks, but what is your prediction for Sunday night?
Well, this is what I think. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. I think great teams are capable of putting 6, 7, 8-game win streaks together. Teams that are just okay, like all the teams in our division, 4 is about the max you get. And the Seahawks are at 4 right now. I think the biggest factor to me is what does Green Bay bring to the table coming off a very tough loss against the Lions in a shootout? If the Packers don't let that loss beat them against Seattle, I think they win a close game. I just think, you know what? The Hawks are a good team, but they're not a great team. That's why the Packers are favored to win this game. And that's what I believe. I think it'll be a very close Green Bay victory. But the Hawks will fight. They'll have the 12th man. It'll be a dogfight. I think Green Bay by just a little, though.
It'll be a fun game. I mean, that logic, what, the Rams have won 3 in a row. They win a couple more, and they lose the Seahawks game. I mean, hey, you know, what could happen?
It could happen. You know, for the Rams to win the Super Bowl, I think I read they would have to win 7 games in a row. You know, that might be a little much. You know, you do get that 2-week break, but I think for mediocre teams, and I'm not going to say mediocre, above average teams, that's what the teams in the NFC West are, above average. It's really tough to win 5, 6, 7 in a row. You know, that's reserved this year for the Eagles, the Lions, Kansas City, who continues to find ways to win games.
Yeah, most definitely. Kansas City cannot lose. We'll talk about them later in the show. All right, let's move on to one of our favorite games that we play on the show. Fair or foul? I'll give you a statement. You tell me if it's fair or foul. First up, we're going to talk division predictions. The Seahawks will maintain their division lead and win the NFC West. Gerard, I'll go to you first. Is that fair or foul?
It's foul because the Rams are going to win out. And if that last game comes down to being Seahawks-Rams at SoFi, I'm definitely, you know, in this division, as you all know, we just have matchups that just work a certain way. Rams over Seahawks, that's one of the trends right now. We already saw it happen in Seattle. So I'm going to say it's foul. I think the Rams are in a position to win the division, and that happened because they just won these last 2 games. The Buffalo game and the game at San Francisco, I think, were the toughest games the Rams had left. They can't overlook the Jets. Got to get on a plane, go across the country. That's not going to be easy. But I think they're in the right mindset. So I got to say foul because I think the Rams are going to win out.
All right, no doubt in Los Angeles. Megan, let's go to you. Same question. Do the Seahawks hang on to win the division, fair or foul?
Foul, the Rams. I'm picking the Rams as well. And, you know, I think this is kind of a storyline that a lot of us were really talking about early on in the season, right? It was the Rams need to get healthy. The Rams need to get healthy. When they get healthy, they're going to be more of a threat, and that's something that has come to fruition here. The Rams are looking really good right now, and yes, the Seahawks, they've had a nice little run here, but I do think it's the Rams that are going to hold on or come out on top and end up winning the division.
And well, Megan, we need the Cardinals' help against the Rams later this couple of weeks. I don't want you guys throwing games so your prediction is right. All right, Keyshawn, what's your take? Fair or foul? Seahawks win the division.
I'm going to say foul as well as everybody else. I just think that the Rams are finding strides at the right time. And then, like Gerard just mentioned earlier, these 2 games really said a lot about the team. You want to go score for score, they can put 40 points on Buffalo. You want to win in the trenches, they can win 12-6 against the Niners. I just think that the Rams are in a great place right now. And I'll be honest, I just cannot believe in Geno Smith. I don't know why. It just seemed like when it matters, will he come through? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. But I know Matt Stafford will put up points. I know Kyron Williams will get first downs. And I've just been very impressed with the Rams' defensive line. The way they looked last night, they were dominant. And I think that when it comes to this division, the Rams will be the last one standing when it matters.
All right, well, I guess I have to be the contrarian. I'll go with fair. Even though, as you guys said, the odds are currently against the Seahawks given their schedule. Like I said, and I think the Hawks get it done on Sunday night against the Packers. That means they'd have to beat just one of the Vikings or Bears to make that Week 18 matchup with the Rams a division decider. I think they're playing too well right now to not make that happen. I think the Hawks get their revenge over the Rams after a bad loss earlier in the season. I think this defense is a force to be reckoned with. I think they can get it done. All right. Statement 2, let's talk Super Bowl. Currently, the Lions and Chiefs are the favorites to win the NFC and AFC, respectively. Fair or foul, Detroit and Kansas City will meet in New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. Megan, what do you think?
I think that's fair. The Chiefs, and we've seen so many close games now from the Chiefs, right? They always win. They always find a way to win. This is a team who obviously, whether it's winning their division or, making it to the Super Bowl consistently, they have a track record now that you really can't go against. So I have no problem with the Chiefs making it to the Super Bowl. And then the Lions as well. They're just one of the most dominant teams in the league right now. They're a team I like. I think these two will match up, and I think it's going to be a pretty darn good game.
There's a lot of good teams in the NFL. Whatever matchup it is, it's going to be fun. Lions, Chiefs, that would be box office. Gerard, over to you now. Fair or foul, Lions, Chiefs, Super Bowl meeting?
I like the Lions' chances better than I like the Chiefs right now, but I do think Philadelphia's better. I think Detroit's got some injuries right now. I think the Lions got some experience, some much-needed experience last year, but they are not unbeatable by any means. If you had to make me pick between them and Philadelphia, I would go with the Eagles. And let's face it, the Chiefs, come on. The Chiefs just keep getting by. They keep getting by. They keep getting by. Someone's going to get them. Someone is going to get them. My guess it's going to be the Bills. I think this is the year we see the Bills return to the Super Bowl, back to their glorious, 90s where they went 4 straight times. So I'm going to say it's foul. I think Buffalo gets in. And I honestly, the NFC, in my opinion, is open. There are several teams that could make it, and we always see some upsets in the postseason in the NFL. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, it would be quite the curse to break for the Bills. I'd like that. Keyshawn, what about you? Fair or foul, Kansas City, Detroit, Super Bowl?
I'm going to say foul as well. I don't know why. Like, certain people you don't want to bet against, whether it's Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Joe Montana, Tom, the names go on, but you never want to bet against Patrick Mahomes, but I just think that this is the year that Josh Allen finally gets over the top. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of 2007 when Peyton Manning was down 21-0 against the Patriots, and they finally came back and finally came over the top and went to the Super Bowl that year. I don't know why. I just feel like at some point Josh Allen has to just show he is one of the best in the league, and this is the league, and this is the time that he has to do it. And like Gerard mentioned earlier, yeah, the Chiefs, they just keep getting by with these slim wins. Can they do it throughout a whole season and the postseason and the Super Bowl again? I don't know. I wouldn't put no money on that, so I'm going to go with the Bills going. And as far as NFC, that's pretty tough because I was going to say we're going to see the Super Bowl preview this weekend with Detroit and Buffalo, but when you go for star, Saquon Barkley is the MVP candidate as well, and I just think that he's going to be tough to stop for Detroit, and they are dealing with injuries as well. So I guess if I had to be a betting man, I'm going to say Buffalo versus the Eagles in the Super Bowl this year.
All right, I like it. Yeah, I mean, for me, Gerard, you guys all mentioned how the Chiefs have just been getting by. You can make the argument against them for that reason. I'm going to say fair. It just seems like the football gods are willing Patrick Mahomes to another Super Bowl run. You alluded to it, Gerard. In just their last 2 games, Aiden O'Connell fumbles the snap in the last seconds. Chiefs beat the Raiders by 2. They get the doink field goal to win the division against the Chargers last week. There's somebody up there doing something on the field, and go all the way back to week 1 against the Ravens. Isaiah Likely literally millimeters away from a touchdown in the last moments to tie or take the lead. I just think luck is on the Chiefs' side this year, and if you give Patrick Mahomes luck, he can do just about anything with it. The NFC, Detroit's shown they're the team to beat all year. Aiden Hutchinson's injury hasn't hurt them as much as people have thought it would. And, I mean, really, it's hard to root against Dan Campbell, so I'll say fair. I just love his locker room speeches. That man knows how to get a group of men going. All right, final question for everyone this week. The season has been full of ups and downs for everyone in the division. Some more downs. I mean, the division has been down this year. What has been your favorite moment for your respective teams so far this year? Keyshawn, I'll start with you and the Niners.
Oh, my God, this is going to be tough. We don't have a lot of great moments because I was going to say the win at Seattle from Thursday night this year, but they almost blew that game. So I'm going to go with the Monday night win against the New York Jets. The reason is it was a very weird start because that's when Christian McCaffrey's injury came out. It became serious more than what it was reported. But after that, we saw the emergence of Jordan Mason, who had over 140 yards rushing and a touchdown. Brock Purdy hit 6 different targets on offense, so the offense was moving down the field. He even had like a great dial-up play for Kyle Juszczyk. And then the defense flying around with that same intensity they had last year when Fanning Fouls had an interception, and it just seemed like the Niners were kind of getting it back to that run where they were on last year. Like, we're going to be one of the top teams in the NFC. I believe after that week, I said, yeah, they're going to go on a 13-winning streak. But, man, I was completely wrong on the Niners. So that was probably the best moment, that Monday night win against the New York Jets.
Yeah, I think easily Niners, the surprise of the division this year. Megan, let's go to you. Best moment for the Cardinals this year.
Given the way things have turned recently, can I pick the bye week? Things were so positive during the bye week, right? They were on a 4-game win streak heading into that. It looks like this division was theirs. They just had to control their own destiny, but didn't make it happen. But no, I'm going to say I'll pick maybe a play I really liked at one point during that stretch there. It was Trey McBride. We've seen him hurdle guys a lot this season, but he's had, those hurdling plays this year. And I think it's been really nice to watch him to continue to come into his own. He has solidified his spot as one of the best tight ends in the league. He's been the guy that Kyler Murray could rely on the most this season. So I think for me, it's, that 4-game winning streak there and Trey McBride having some really standout performances that just continues to kind of propel him into conversations on the national stage. Those are the things that kind of stand out to me. And then, then the bye week happened and then everything kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah. All right, Gerard, what do you got for the Rams?
It's got to be the Buffalo game. That is the game. The city and that team started to believe that they could be players in this season at the end. They scored 44 points. This defensive unit has grown up. They are the Rams have the second youngest team in the entire NFL. So this group is the foundation right now for who they're going to be for the next couple of years. And we're watching them grow up in front of our eyes. And that Buffalo win at home in front of the country was the culmination of who they could be if they got healthy and they put complete games together. So it's got to be the Buffalo game for me, and we'll see where they can take it from here. But they had lost on the big stage to Miami, to Philadelphia. They got their butts handed to them. They've just been inconsistent, and we're finally seeing some consistency, which started with the Buffalo victory. So it's got to be that game.
Yeah, I mean, for the Seahawks, it has to be Leonard Williams' pick 6 against the Jets, not just because it's awesome to see a lineman as big as Big Cat rumble down the field for 92 yards, but also, I mean, given the context of when it happened, Seattle was down 21-7 after letting the Jets take a kickoff back for a touchdown, and then they fumbled the ensuing kickoff. I mean, it was a disaster. The Hawks were staring at a 28-7 hole, if not for that pick 6. And with the Rams beating both the Bills and Niners, you could argue that one play, that singular play, saved Seattle's season. We'll see how it ends up in the end. But shout out to Big Cat, Leonard Williams. Seahawks fans absolutely need to send him to the Pro Bowl. All right, that's going to do it for us. A reminder, you can stream the NFC West Huddle anytime on the Fox local app. We'll be here next week with all the news around the division. Thank you guys, Megan, Gerard, Keyshawn. We'll see you next week.